In a few short years, one man transformed a fractured France into a dominant empire, Napoleon Bonaparte. He rose from obscurity, seizing opportunities amid the chaos of the French Revolution. France was collapsing, the monarchy was weak, the people starving, and revolution was tearing down the old order. In this turmoil, Napoleon's ambition and talent propelled him upward, as the revolution rewarded skill over birth. He became the leader France needed, restoring order, defending its borders, and channeling revolutionary ideals, even as he gathered power for himself. His meteoric rise from junior officer to ruler of France was no accident. Napoleon's intellect, relentless drive, and belief in destiny made him a master strategist, on the battlefield and in politics. He saw Europe as a chessboard and played with unmatched brilliance. His story is proof of how one person's will can change the course of history. Napoleon was born Napoleone Bonaparte in Corsica, a fiercely independent island, just after France took control of its rocky shores. The island's unique blend of Italian and French influences shaped his earliest memories, and the tension between old traditions and new rulers was ever present in his childhood. He grew up speaking Corsican at home, feeling like a stranger in his own land, and even more so in France. The language he spoke, the customs he followed, and the pride he felt for Corsica set him apart from both the French and his fellow islanders. Thanks to his family's alliance with the French, Napoleon was able to attend military school on the mainland. But there, he was mocked for his thick Corsican accent, his humble origins, and his foreign-sounding name. He was an outsider among the French elite, never quite fitting in. Isolated and often lonely, Napoleon found solace in books. He devoured stories of ancient heroes and military campaigns, immersing himself in history and strategy. In the quiet hours, he forged a fierce independence and an unbreakable ambition, determined to rise above his circumstances. He excelled in mathematics and artillery, quickly earning respect for his sharp intellect and technical skill. While he was never the most popular student, his teachers and peers could not ignore his brilliance and relentless drive to succeed. Torn between his Corsican roots and his future in the French military, Napoleon's life was upended when a political rift forced his family to flee their homeland. They left behind everything familiar, carrying only memories and hope as they sought refuge in France. With Corsica lost to him, Napoleon's destiny became inseparably tied to France. The island that had shaped him was now out of reach, but its spirit remained within him, fueling his determination. The outsider was now all in, driven to prove himself in a nation that never fully accepted him. Every setback only hardened his resolve, and every slight became fuel for his ambition. This deep sense of not belonging, of always being on the margins, became the fire that fueled his relentless pursuit of greatness. He was determined to carve out a place for himself, no matter the cost. Soon, he would have the chance to show France and the world what an outsider, armed with vision and resolve, could truly achieve. The stage was set for his rise, and history was about to be rewritten by the Corsican outsider. Arriving in France, Napoleon found a nation in chaos, the reign of terror. The streets of Paris echoed with fear and hope as the old world crumbled and a new, uncertain order struggled to emerge. The air was thick with suspicion, and every day brought news of fresh executions or sudden reversals of fortune. The revolution had destroyed the old order, opening doors for talent but also risking the guillotine for any misstep. Nobles and commoners alike faced the blade, and ambition was both a blessing and a curse. In this volatile environment, survival demanded not just courage, but cunning and adaptability. The army, desperate for leaders, promoted men based on merit, not birth. For the first time, ability and determination could outweigh noble lineage. This radical shift allowed young officers like Napoleon to rise quickly, provided they could prove themselves on the battlefield and in the political arena. Napoleon aligned with the Jacobins, wrote a pro-revolution pamphlet, and gained powerful patrons. He understood the importance of choosing the right allies, and his political writings caught the attention of those in power, helping him secure crucial support. He understood that political savvy was as vital as military skill. Navigating the shifting alliances and dangerous intrigues of revolutionary France required a sharp mind and a keen sense of timing. The Revolutionary Army was a new force, driven by patriotism and bold tactics. Soldiers fought not just for pay but for ideals, and their energy transformed the battlefield. The old rules of war no longer applied, and innovation became the key to victory. Napoleon absorbed these innovations, blending them with his own studies to create a unique style of warfare. He spent countless hours poring over maps and military treatises, determined to master every aspect of strategy and command. But the revolution's politics were deadly. After Robespierre's fall, Napoleon was briefly arrested and left without a command. The same forces that had elevated him now threatened to destroy him, and his future hung in the balance. Stranded in Paris, he faced uncertainty, but also stood ready for the next opportunity. With little more than his ambition and his wits, he waited, watching for the moment when he could prove himself once again. The revolution had tested and forged him. Each setback became a lesson, each hardship a source of strength, shaping him into a leader unlike any other of his generation. Now, it was about to give him his chance. The fires of revolution had tempered Napoleon, and soon the world would witness the rise of a new kind of leader, one born from the chaos, ready to seize destiny. Napoleon's breakthrough came at the Siege of Toulon in 1793. The city had rebelled, inviting British and Spanish fleets. France's survival was at stake. As a young artillery captain, Napoleon devised a bold plan: seize the high ground, control the harbor, and force the enemy fleet to flee. He worked tirelessly, leading from the front and earning his men's loyalty. His plan succeeded. The British evacuated, Toulon fell, and Napoleon was hailed as a hero. He was promoted to brigadier general at just 24. His hands-on leadership and strategic brilliance set him apart. Toulon made him a national figure. The unknown outsider was now a rising star in revolutionary France. His legend was just beginning. The world was starting to take notice. In 1796, Napoleon took command of the struggling French army of Italy. He electrified his troops, promising glory and riches, and transformed a demoralized force into a winning machine. Using speed and surprise, he split enemy armies and defeated them in rapid succession. Victories at Montagnat, Lodi, and Rivoli made him a hero to his men and a terror to his enemies. He led from the front, earning the nickname the Little Corporal. Napoleon's tactics, concentration of force, speed, and coordination, revolutionized warfare. The Italian campaign made him a national hero and gave him a loyal, battle-hardened army. He wasn't just winning battles, he was rewriting the rules of war. France had found its greatest general. Napoleon's legend was now unstoppable. After conquering Italy, Napoleon returned to Paris a hero, but the government wanted him far from power. Instead of invading Britain, he led a daring expedition to Egypt, aiming to disrupt British trade and build a new empire. He brought not just soldiers, but scientists and scholars, seeking both conquest and discovery. The French army won at the Battle of the Pyramids, but disaster struck when Nelson destroyed their fleet at the Battle of the Nile. Napoleon and his men were stranded, cut off from France. The Egyptian campaign became a test of survival and leadership. Despite initial victories, the dream of empire in the East faded. Napoleon's ambitions were now turning back toward France. The conqueror was trapped, but not for long. He was already plotting his next move. In Egypt, Napoleon governed and reformed, but news from France was grim. Defeats abroad, chaos at home. Sensing opportunity, he abandoned his army and returned to France, greeted as a savior. The government was collapsing. Conspirators needed a strong leader for a coup. Napoleon seized control of the plot, outmaneuvering allies and rivals alike. On 18 Brumaire, he used political maneuvering and military force to dissolve the Directory. When the legislature resisted, his brother Lucien's dramatic intervention saved the day. The coup succeeded. Napoleon was now the power behind the new government. The era of unstable republics was over. France had a new master. The revolution had created its own ruler. Napoleon was ready to reshape France. With the Directory gone, Napoleon emerged as first consul, France's true leader, wielding more power than anyone since the revolution began. He was young, ambitious, and determined to restore order to a nation exhausted by years of turmoil and uncertainty. He centralized authority, reformed the chaotic tax system, and founded the Bank of France to stabilize the economy. Napoleon also reached out to the Catholic Church, healing a deep rift that had divided the country since the Revolution. These reforms brought stability and hope to a weary population. Perhaps his greatest legacy was the Napoleonic Code, a revolutionary legal system based on equality before the law, property rights, and civil liberties. This code swept away old feudal laws and became a model for legal systems around the world. Its influence still felt today. On the battlefield, Napoleon proved unstoppable. He crushed France's enemies, winning a string of victories that forced peace on a continent at war for over a decade. For the first time in years, the French people could hope for lasting stability. The French, weary of chaos and longing for security, embraced Napoleon as a savior. His popularity soared as he promised prosperity and national pride. In a national plebiscite, the people overwhelmingly voted to make him first consul for life, giving him unprecedented authority and confirming their trust in his leadership. But for Napoleon, this was not enough. He craved security for his dynasty and a title that would place him on equal footing with Europe's ancient monarchs. The idea of an empire began to take shape in his mind. When an assassination plot was uncovered, Napoleon seized the opportunity. He used the threat to justify a bold move, transforming the Republic into an empire. In 1804, the Senate proclaimed him Emperor of the French. Another plebiscite followed, and the people overwhelmingly approved, eager for stability and glory. The Corsican outsider, once dismissed as an upstart, was now the undisputed ruler of France, his journey from obscurity to power complete. From exile on a remote island to the grandeur of imperial palaces, Napoleon's rise was nothing short of extraordinary, a testament to his vision and relentless ambition. In just a few years, Napoleon had remade France and himself. He transformed a fractured nation into a powerful empire, and a young general into a legend. The world would never be the same. Napoleon's actions would echo across Europe, shaping history for generations to come. On December 2, 1804, Napoleon's coronation in Notre Dame was a spectacle of power and symbolism. He blended Roman, Carolingian, and revolutionary traditions, inviting the Pope, but crowned himself, signaling independence from church and old monarchy. By crowning his wife Josephine, he founded a new dynasty based on merit, not birth. The ceremony linked his rule to Charlemagne and the Roman Empire, but on his own terms. Napoleon crafted a new imperial identity for France, revolutionary, yet rooted in history. The coronation ended the revolution and began the First French Empire. The outsider from Corsica now sat on a throne more powerful than any king before him. His rise was a testament to ambition, genius, and the ability to shape history. The Republic was gone. The age of Napoleon had begun. Europe would never be the same.